So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the MWO tutorials. My name is Lealdrin, and today I'd like to walk you through purchasing your very own first mech. Your first mech is always going to be something special. I mean, it's the first mech that you yourself have bought with your C-bills and that you own, and it's a big step. You might have played a lot with the trial mechs, you've gathered up some C-bills, now you want to know, what should I do with all this money? Or these C-bills? Well, if we go into the Mech Lab, we can check it out. So let's jump over there. So, this is the Mech Lab for the trial mechs. What you have to do is you have to jump over to owned mechs here. So, your purchased mechs. Here's a list of all of the mechs that you've purchased. I actually have quite a few. But let's go to the Mech Bay. If you have a free mech bay here, you'll see available one. I think you start with 4 mech bays, so you should have 4 available mech bays. You click on that, then you see here no mech selected, and you click on the buy mech. So let's jump in there. So this is the screen for all of the mechs in the game right now. We have the premium ones, those you have to buy with real money or MC. Then we have light, medium, heavy, and assault. I would recommend for your first mech you look at the medium chassis. They have a good blend of firepower, speed, and armor, and they can adjust to a lot of situations. And the mech of choice that I would recommend that you look at is actually the Hunchback. The Hunchback is a strong first mech. It's easy to use. You can do a lot of different things with it. And specifically, I'd recommend you look at the Hunchback 4SP. The 4SP is a solid mech. It'll give you a lot of different choices of what to do with it, and I'll actually show you the loadout that I myself use with the mech right now. This was my first mech. I was very happy with it. It's not as fast as a light. It can't hit as hard as a heavy or assault, but it does a lot of damage for its size. It can take a beating, and all in all, it's a very good brawler. So if we go back here, I actually have it in my list over here. In the very beginning, it all started with the Hunchback 4SP. So, this mech actually starts out quite nice. You get 4 medium lasers, a small laser, you get 2 SRM6s. So, actually right out of the hangar, this is a good mech. You can do a lot of damage with it. And I'd actually like to show you something that's, for once, not inside MWO. We're going to go to a website called Smurfy. I'll post the link to Smurfy down in the video description. And this is a site that you use to test out different builds. You can just place them. It's like a builder outside of the game. So let's go there and I'll show you that. So this is Smurfy, mwo.smurfy/net.de. This is the start page that you come to. Welcome to the Mech Lab. So what you want to do is you go to mech and weapon stats. Don't use this slider here, because that will just show you empty mech, and you want a standard loadout here. So mech and weapon stats, we go down to the Hunchback. There we go. The HBK 4SP. That's the mech we're getting. So this is the Hunchback that you just bought, if you bought it, of course. You have 4 medium lasers, 2 in each arm. You have a small laser in the cockpit, and you have a lot of standard heat sinks, some SRM ammo, and 2 SRM6s. This is a good loadout. I mean, for 3.5 million C-bills, 3.6 million, this is a very good loadout. You get a solid mech, you can do a lot with it, so I recommend just drop a couple of times, test it out. The things that I've changed with this mech, I wanted it a lot faster, because I think 65, that's a bit slow. I wanted to go faster than that, so I changed the engine. But to be able to do that, I had to do a couple of things. First, I got double heat sinks. So if you click here, double heat sinks, I'll show you later in game how you change all of this. So you click the double heat sinks, that removes all of the heat sinks you have, but it frees up a lot of tonnage. So instead we have these double heat sinks. They take up 3 critical slots, but they do, surprise surprise, double the amount of cooling that a normal heat sink does. So these 3 is actually like having 6 heat sinks, and we still have that extra tonnage. So let's remove that engine and go in here, and what can we fit instead? We can fit 260. I would definitely recommend you get a standard engine. You have these XL engines, and we can actually fit a larger one of those, making the mech go a bit faster. But your mech becomes so much more vulnerable, and the Hunchback is not a suitable mech for an XL engine. So let's just go for the standard one. There we go, we have a 260. The thing with the XL engine is that it weighs less, but it also takes up 3 critical slots in the side torsos. And if one of the side torsos gets blown off, you die. Usually you don't. Usually I can lose my right torso or my right arm, no problem. But if I have an XL engine, the mech dies. So now I'm a bit faster, quite a lot faster actually. And I want to move this SRM ammo, because an ammo explosion can always happen. When you're out of armor, this mech actually does have quite a lot of armor in the center torso, but if you're out of armor and somebody hits you, you can have an ammo explosion, and you don't want that happening in your center torso. So we move the SRM ammo down to the legs. This is a good first step. Now you're in a good way to make a good mech. From here, I would actually also add endo steel. Endo steel gives you a lot of flexibility. It takes away a lot of the critical slots. Don't worry about where this dynamic structure is, because you see this side torso is full, but if I want to place another double heatsink here, it will actually move to accommodate that and move the dynamic structure somewhere else in the mech. So as long as you have some empty slots, you can always just move around and do what you want. So with this, you can actually run it as it is now. This is a good solid. You can change that small laser for another medium one. That would give you some more standard damage, and if you'd like, we have an extra ton here. You could add another double heat sink. I actually run the Artemis missiles. Artemis is a system that gives you more convergence on your missiles, and if I add that, you'll see that I actually can't add that because I have too much tonnage, so let's remove that laser. You see my SRM gets Artemis 4, and my ammo does as well, so this will give me better convergence. This is the mech that I think that you should aim for. This is the final build. We've added first the double heat sinks, then the endo steel, and last we added the Artemis. I removed the head laser. Sure, that does remove 5 damage, but that's okay. I think that in the beginning it's more important that you have these 4 double heat sinks. That will give you a lot of extra heat sink capability. If you don't want the Artemis, it's quite an expensive upgrade, and I can understand if you want to aim for another mech. I would actually add back, instead of the Artemis, you can get that extra medium laser and another heatsink. That's also a very worthwhile thing to do. So this, I think, should be your first mech. Let's jump back into the Loadout lab, and I'll show you just how to build it. Okay, welcome back to the loading screen. Or loadout screen even. So, as you saw in Smurfy, we've done, that's the build that I use right now, and also the recommended one that that I think that you should use. But if you go into loadout, this is how it looks when you actually build the mech. I actually think it's simpler just to do it the way that Smurfy does with all of the things set up, but hey, this is quite easy as well. So, in your left arm, you should have 2 medium lasers. In your right arm, you should have 2 medium lasers. And you'll notice that I can do a couple of things that you can't do yet. It's mainly because I have a standard Onion 260, and as I said, what you have to do is you have to get endo steel and double heat sinks. And you won't be able to find this on any mech part as such. Instead, you go to the plus here, configure upgrades, and you get these 4 special ones. The first one is ferrofibrous armor. As I said, it's quite good, but you'll always want to get endo steel before you get ferrofibrous. So get that. I already have it, of course. Heat sinks. You want to get double heat sinks. This is an expensive upgrade. This is the second most expensive thing you're going to get for your mech, but it's so worth it. Double heat sinks let you, basically you can have twice as many heat sinks. They take up a lot of space, but in this weight category, weight is usually a bigger block than space, so you'll definitely want to get double heat sinks. I personally run the Artemis system on my medium lasers. You don't have to. I think it helps with convergence and getting the damage exactly where I want it, but in the beginning it doesn't hurt that much to have a bit of spread, because if you miss the target, some of your missiles might still hit. So that's up to you to do however you want to do. But that's the thing. The armor, I just use the standard armor. I use the armor that the mech comes with. As for engine, I use a 260, as I said in Smurfy. Don't forget to switch your ammo. The starting ammo comes here in the center torso. Just move it down to the legs, and you should be safe from ammo explosions in the center torso. You don't want that. That's pretty much an instant death. So I run 2 double heat sinks in the right torso, 1 double heat sink in the left torso. That's of course because I have that medium laser up in the head. I would recommend that you skip that one and instead run an extra double heat sink. Sure, you will lower your firepower a bit, but you'll be better from overheating, and that might be better in the beginning until you really learn how to control your mech. So let's just quickly jump into a game, and I'll show you how to set the control groups for the weapons. But I always forget something. Before that, let's just check out modules, camel spec, and cockpit. Modules, nothing you have to worry about in the beginning. You have these advanced zoom, you have the target delay. You actually have to spend quite a lot of general XP just to get this stuff, to be able to buy this stuff. And then of course it costs a fortune. If you look at the 360 target retention, this item has not, it actually says this item has not been unlocked, because you have to go into the pilot lab and spend a lot of experience. Then we have the camo spec. This is how your mech looks when you get it, and you can spend C-bills to get other camouflages and different color patterns. I actually have spent a couple of C-bills just to unlock white, and black. This is how I like to run my Hunchback, so I'm going to save that because I think it looks good with white mech, and it helps on a lot of the winter maps. I tell myself, I don't think it actually does. Then we have cockpit. This is just if you want to add some cockpit items hanging from your or a hula girl, a Highlander statue, things like that. You can add the FRR bronze that I actually have. Let's not get any statue, and then yeah, so you have a little thing just that's purely cosmetical. So that's all of those slots. Let's go into the launch, and we're searching for game. So there we are in game, and the game is just about to start. Time is ticking down here. 3, 2, 1. I'll actually not show you the full game here. What I want to show you is the system for the weapon groups, the weapon control groups. Of course, you'll mainly have 2 kinds of weapons. You'll have your missiles and your lasers. And if you look here down in the right corner where I'm moving, you move this with just the keypad, or yeah, the normal keys, up, down, and you jump like this. So if I place all of my weapons in the same group, what I do is I simply, you see that where these converge, that's the highlighted one, and if I press right control, I activate or deactivate it. So this is my first control group. If I were to fire now with just my left mouse button, that would fire all my weapons and create loads of heat, about 45%. That's a lot of heat. So instead, I don't want to fire my missiles, for instance. I don't want to fire my my right lasers. I just want to fire my left lasers. There we go, 2 of them. So on the second button, right mouse button, I have that's always number 2, or if you want to set it something else, but it's number 2 from the beginning. So that'll let me fire my right lasers. Number 3, that's my thumb key on my mouse, so that will fire my missiles. And number 4 is the other thumb key, so that will let me fire my zombie laser, or the head laser. So I have all of these on different settings. What you want to note is that the highlighted row, the vertical one, will always be the one that you fire with your left mouse button. So now I'll actually fire my missiles, seeing as those are the one in the third control group. But that should always be placed on the first row there, and I think that's pretty much it for your first mech. I mean, this one will handle quite well. With the engine boost, it'll beat quite fast. With the weapons that you have, you'll do quite a lot of damage as long as you don't get into a fight with something much heavier than you. But you can stand your ground against quite a lot, actually, and I enjoy playing like that. So I hope that you enjoyed this intro video to getting your first mech, and please leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more MWO intro tutorials. I show you different weapons, different more mech styles, different loadouts, and there will be about 2 to 3 videos a week. I know that UI 2.0 soon will be out, and I'll actually redo most of the tutorials once UI 2.0 is out. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and have a good day. See ya.